I had given my life to Jesus like 6 times before.
You're like, what else do I got to do?
Again?
Every time that opportunity came up, I was like, yes.
I feel compelled.
Sign the card.
Yes.
You
Talk
really
to
gave
the
it your all.
person.
Yeah.
I gave my life to Jesus so many times.
So many.
Just ridiculous.
When I laugh to get through it, don't feel bad for me. That's just my dramedy.
Hey everybody, it's Alex.
It's Chloe.
I'm Allison.
And this is Traumedy.
Traumedy.
What does traumedy mean, you may be asking yourselves? Probably not, but in case you are, why don't you tell them, Allison?
Traumedy is, at its core, a mixture of trauma and comedy.
Yes.
And you put those together and you get the Traumedy podcast. We talk about trauma and things that make us laugh, and we put them together.
Yeah, and how a lot of our coping mechanism is laced in comedy.
And we have a motto here, and it is laugh through the pain.
Laugh through the pain.
That's it.
Today we have on, you know her as our friend Megan.
She's finally here.
It's the infamous, our friend
Megan.
Megan is on the pod today. Hi, Megan.
Hi. It's so good to be here. Wow.
It's so great to have you.
And
This
you're
is so
one
exciting.
of 2 friends that actually listen to the podcast.
I
yeah, and we
do.
thank you for that.
You're
That's
welcome.
true. Probably because she knows that we talk about her.
She gets a personalized shout out
Yeah.
every week.
I got to wait for it.
Yeah, you got it. It's
Exactly.
like an Easter egg.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. We're very excited to have you. Obviously, you know why you're here. But before we get into that, like we here on the Traumedy podcast, as you know, we love, what do we love?
We love
an
origin story.
So let's get into that
Definitely
and
do
how
that.
Megan has come into all of our lives. So let's Megan.
Let's
Yes,
set
Alex.
the
Megan, why don't
scene.
you set the scene here?
Oh, gosh.
Or should I set the scene here?
I think you should set the scene here.
Okay. So I had heard about Megan from a mutual friend, and so he was friends with her, but they were on like an off. They were off. Like they're you know how sometimes with your friends you're on and you're
Sometimes
off.
you're on and sometimes you're off.
This was an off period
It
with
was
this
an off.
friend, but they were coming back together. They were reconciling, and one of the things that they were like bonded over was they went to church. So their like coming back together was at Good Friday service at church in
Ecclesia,
Hollywood,
yeah.
Ecclesia. And so my introduction to Megan was this girl comes around the corner and sees my friend who she was seeing again for the first time and just weeps and just starts bawling
Butt
and
checks.
runs to his arms, and they hold each other for a long time, and I'm
Wait,
like,
did
oh
you
God.
did you say the year yet?
2012.
12? Yeah.
Okay.
And
I was
wow.
also weeping because, death of
Jesus.
Jesus.
Death of Jesus, guys.
I had already been weeping.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
was
was
it
a very
after
emotional.
church?
It was after church.
yeah.
We didn't go for service. I don't think, right? Didn't
don't
we just
think
come
so.
right at the end
Yeah.
for you guys to meet up? And
That was
Wow.
weird.
that's also
Why
when I
did
met
we do
Brittany
that?
and Jasmine. That was the
Oh,
same night.
yeah.
So like,
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
No, you
those
met
two.
Brittany and Jasmine at Easter Sunday. They
Oh,
weren't at
that's
Good
right.
Friday.
That's right. That's right.
They did come to Easter
It was the same
Sunday
church.
service.
That's right.
Yeah,
It was
but it was
Sunday.
the same church.
But yeah, because you guys reconciled, but we didn't really hang out that night. And then you invited us back for Easter Sunday, and we came back.
Yes.
So that's when we met, but we didn't really get close for a couple years.
Yeah.
And then honestly, like just like with Jane, you met Chloe pretty shortly after I met you, because
Yeah.
Chloe visited so often, but this was
Yeah.
like, it was
Yeah.
at a farmer's market.
Farmer's
It was
market.
at the Hollywood Farmers Market. You were wearing a Lion
Dra-
King shirt.
No, Jurassic. Oh, it was Lion
It was a
King.
Lion
It
King
was
shirt.
Lion King shirt.
Wait, Megan was wearing Lion King?
Or was it Jurassic Park?
I don't think it was Lion King yet.
It was Jurassic
'cause
Park.
My Lion King shirt was after I went to New York.
It was Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park
Jurassic
shirt.
Park would
That
Yes.
tracks.
out.
Yeah, that tracks.
That tracks.
Still
And-
today, Chuck.
Yeah, so we met at the farmers market when I was visiting. I think it was 2014
It was warm
or
out.
2015.
Here. Okay, so we always get hung up on the years, but I now thinking about it, I didn't meet your mutual friend until 2012, so this would have been 2013.
So then I
That
met
makes
her
sense.
in 2014.
2014, yeah. So it was
Okay.
like a little
Makes
less than a year
sense.
later.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
the time.
And then I moved out here, and
As you know,
at one point, your girl was homeless, and Megan took me in. Why does this keep
Megan
happening?
was the first person that took you in?
I don't think
No.
no.
It was
Jane
Jane.
was.
So this was after I'd been living there for a while,
Mhm.
and I there being LA, and I I'd broken up with a boyfriend, and we were living together.
Right.
And I was like, we both had to move out, And I was like, I don't really like have a place to go. And Megan was like, well, my roommate's going to be gone
That's
for a
exactly
little
what
bit.
it sounded like.
Wait, what part of the city was this?
North Hollywood.
Okay.
On Tahunga. Next to the
Tahunga.
Denny's.
The Denny's.
Oh, I know that well.
We had some good
And the
times at the
In-N-Out.
Denny's.
Yeah.
And the In-N-Out. And we were next door
There's
to a
pretty
liquor
close
store.
Taco Bell as well.
That liquor store.
Yeah, Taco Bell.
Yep. Oh, the Taco Bell.
Alex
Shout out.
bases all the goodness on how close it is to a Taco Bell.
Yeah,
And
it is,
for
it's
sure.
crucial.
And a
Yeah.
drive-through Starbucks.
Drive-through Starbucks.
True.
A
That is
drive-through Starbucks.
crucial.
I'm sorry if the Starbucks doesn't have a drive-through. Megan's gonna be really mad at me, but it's not a Starbucks. I'm going to.
It's, I think
It's
it's,
a Starbucks. It's just not as
she,
good.
she begs to differ.
It's just not as
It's
good.
not as good.
Listen.
Here's the
No.
thing.
I think no. Can I make a suggestion here? Can I make an observation? I think what they're referring to, Megan, because listen, I've complained to Megan many a time about a Starbucks Target coffee order that was
that's
awful.
the word. That's the lowest.
Always
and then I
wrong.
learned,
Target is
I
low.
learned it's Target's. They use their own flavorings. They don't
Yeah.
use Starbucks stuff.
Same thing
Ah.
with Ralph's.
So that is why the drinks taste different. The vanilla
Yeah.
syrup is different.
You heard it here, folks.
You heard maybe
That
not
is an
first, but you heard it here.
exclusive.
Wow. Crazy. Anyway, but yes, so I lived with Megan for 6 months.
Yeah,
I
you finished
think
out the lease.
It was supposed to be
Yeah.
6 months, but it ended up being a year.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah.
Chloe's brain
does not-
just
Yeah.
exploded. She was literally like, what?
It was 2016 to 2017. Yeah.
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 Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it was. And this is,
I based it around the guys that I was dating at the time.
and I based it around the guys I was dating.
Yeah. So that I think that tracks.
I just remember being there for Christmas, and it was
You were there
lovely.
for Christmas.
Oh, it was lovely.
It was
Megan
lovely.
loves a
I
Christmas
love
movie.
Christmas.
Megan loves
And I
Christmas.
I do.
And I do. I think I moved out in 2017. Yeah.
Is that
like
when you
April.
moved to
It had to have been
Blake,
2017 because
McCormick?
I was at Starbucks by the time we lived together.
Yes.
And I was still at 2017 is when I merged from Chipotle to Starbucks.
It would have been 17 to 18
Transitioned.
then.
Yes, I transitioned.
Okay.
God,
All right,
years.
it doesn't
Anyways,
matter. It's just a year.
fuck
It doesn't matter.
it.
Megan and I lived together, and we had such a
best
fun
time.
time. Oh my gosh, we. Do you remember? You know what I'm gonna say.
you're gonna say.
We tried to do the worm without using your arms,
No.
and
That
we,
seems impossible.
we have a video,
Bad.
and we're just like.
Just trying to throw our bodies across the
That-
floor.
Megan did really good.
I did really good.
But
I
was
was
it
really
carpeted?
proud.
No.
Guys.
I feel like that takes a lot of core strength.
yeah, for
To,
sure.
like, get your
I feel like it was a
torso
lot
up.
of
I
like
was taking
lower
ballet
back,
at the time.
It was like
I
popping.
helped.
Tracks.
You know.
Yeah. Yep. So that's me and Megan.
Yeah.
And I met Megan the same day I met Alex for Chloe's birthday
That's right.
escape room and also drinks and then also another escape room.
that I had
We
done
did do two
already.
that day.
Yeah.
Was that day?
Oh,
It
yeah.
It was
yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And it was not great. It was
No.
Really bad.
It was better than others,
But
but
shout out Quest Rooms.
One more
Shout
time.
out.
Quest rooms.
Shout out Quest Rooms.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Mhm.
if you want us to do an ad, we will.
We will.
We will.
We promise. Yes. So in the time since meeting, we have had some ups and some downs,
And some all arounds.
and
Oh, yeah.
that is whoa. Sorry, Megan. And that is the that's the truth about that. So to kind of get around to why you're here today, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when Chloe and I were discussing this podcast, getting it started up, you know, this is a big topic of one that we have to talk about. It'll be multiple episodes. We're going to kind of hone in on some specifics today, but was religion and our religious upbringing. And I immediately was like, we have to have Megan on because something that you and I bonded over and why we got so close was our very similar religious upbringing as far as like church goes, and how we kind of held on to that for a long time out here. I kind of went through the exact same like wave of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, we got to have Megan on for that discussion. And that is today. So Chloe.
So yeah, Alex and Megan, they met at church, and they bonded because of this like very also specific brand of Christianity.
Yes.
And so can we kind of talk about, like, I mean, Alex and I grew up in the same type of Christianity. So we're all three kind of in the same vein, but can we discuss kind of like what aspects of that Christianity we had, I guess?
Yeah, like similarities.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Megan, where did you? So that I don't even know if Allison knows all this, but like where did you grow up? Where did you first start going to church?
I started going to church when we moved to Florida. So I lived in San Diego for 8 years, and then my family
Is
and
that where
I.
you were born?
No, I was born in Florida.
Okay.
But when I was
Oh,
6
that's right, that's
months,
right,
we
that's right,
moved to
that's right.
San Diego, and then we moved back because my stepdad retired from the military.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom's house wasn't ready when we moved to Florida, so we moved in with my dad and stepmom.
Okay.
So it's my stepdad, my dad, my stepmom, my mom, lots of sisters and
Wow.
brothers. There was like
Wow.
12 of us in this tiny like 3-bedroom house.
Wow.
And they lived on a tiny little street, just a one-way street with a giant church in front of it.
Okay.
And that church was Farm Hill United Methodist Church. And my mom had never been to church before. I had no idea what church was.
So what age were you again? Like 8?
I was going into 4th grade, so 6 or 7 maybe.
Going into 4th grade. Yeah, like
Yeah.
4th grade? I
I
was
was
8.
9.
Yeah, 8 or 9.
Yeah, but I was a year younger than everyone in my class.
Okay.
So
Okay.
probably 8.
Like 7, 8.
7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah.
So we just, I don't even remember like my first time at church. We were just
Oh, you
there.
just
There was a
were-
church
it's
there,
always
and then
been a
we
part
just
of-
went.
Okay, got it.
So that's like really like my memory of childhood did like involve church for the most part.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
very little memory of like San Diego and living on base. I
Okay.
remember my dad grew up Catholic, and he was like, we should go to church for Easter. And I was like, I don't want to spend my time. That sounds boring.
Yeah.
But once we got to Florida and there was this church there, everyone that lived on that street obviously went to that church, and there were a lot of kids there. So I was just like, oh, friends. And like,
Okay.
you know, that got me there. And then my mom started going every Sunday.
So Chloe and I were raised in the Church of Christ only and for
Yeah.
always. So that was United Methodist.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up United Methodist.
Okay,
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say. So that's what my grandpa's church was, right?
Yeah.
That's what Rex.
Yes.
I feel like, I mean, quote me if I'm wrong, but I feel like United Methodist is kind of known as like
all inclusive.
the most, closer to the most conservative of,
It's-
if you take out like, I'm probably uneducated on this, of the, like, I'm just going to stop.
So it's
It's run
the-
by a government, like
yeah,
a governing body.
the Methodists were not conservative enough for our
family. Yeah.
They were the like
liberal Christians.
Christians.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But of the
And-
religious groups that are governed like by
A
groups
body,
of
yeah.
people that I think there are more conservative like you guys, but like of the groups of Christianity that have like rules they have to abide by and
a sect.
yes, that then isn't United Methodist known as the most conservative of that group?
I don't know. Wouldn't Catholics
We're saying more of like the
standalone?
standalone.
But
Christianity.
that's what Church of Christ is.
yeah.
Okay,
Church of
so
Christ is.
I will just
No, but
Take
you
that out.
you
Yeah.
could be right in that different like sects within the Methodist Church are more conservative than others.
yeah.
The ones that we knew growing up, as told
Yeah.
by our families, were like they were
So for
That's
bad.
so funny.
Good- they
Even
weren't
though
real.
what is the truth really?
yeah.
Really?
What is the truth?
I think they were also seen as more like modern and like
Yeah.
New Testament-y, and we were Old Testament-y.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Well, because
like,
you
I
have to know,
think that
Church of Christ came from non-instrumental. Like, so
Okay.
even our Church of Christ sect is considered secular to the like true Church of Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
I feel like the
Wow.
way that you are describing United Methodist is the way that United Methodist, at least I know, feel about Baptists.
Okay.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
How it's all
So
just a
weird.
crazy circle, and
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you because I was so blind to it. But there's someone that's looking at Church of Christ and saying the same thing we're saying.
It's true.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. But yeah, I remember
Wow.
Church of God also
Oh, yeah.
was not right, and they were still too liberal for our
Do
family.
you feel like anyone that wasn't the Church of Christ was always going to be wrong?
Yes,
Well,
I
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know,
that
Chloe
was
maybe
because
thought
I mean, it,
differently.
no, it was like very culty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my friend Kelsey, who I grew up with,
Yeah, down the road.
she was down the street from me. she went to a Methodist church, and they went every Sunday. She participated in the church and everything, but my dad still like looked down on her because she went to a Methodist church.
Right.
That's
This is a big.
But then we got there, and
Yeah.
all that to say, Megan, did you stay United Methodist?
Yes, we my last year before I moved to LA started going to a Baptist church, like a Southern Baptist church.
All of like your whole family, or just you?
Me and my mom.
Okay.
And my other family members just stopped going to church because we had
Okay.
very, very, very big falling out at my Methodist church
Oh,
because it was
geez.
tiny. I mean,
okay.
everyone knew everyone, and everyone was in everyone's business.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I don't know the details because I was so young, and so I followed a boyfriend actually to this Baptist church and was like, Mom, this is great. I had a bunch this Baptist church is a mega church.
Oh, okay.
Everyone in
Yeah.
Pensacola went to this church. My mom joined the choir, and then that was that. As soon as she joined the choir, she was like, oh, the whole family's coming here. And so now they still go to that church.
Wow.
So that's where I go whenever I visit my mom. And it's still not great. I cringed
Better
the
music.
entire yeah, it is. Yes, actually, the music is so no doxology or
Oh my gosh, I
anything like
love
that.
singing the doxology though.
Listen, look, I love a good hymnal.
Oh no.
Wait.
Praise God from
Yeah.
whom all
When it's
Yeah.
good, when those notes are good, it is kind of good. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It transitioned to us performing it.
Anyway,
so
so the similarities between the church that you went to and the church that we went to is basically did you have communion every Sunday?
No,
Oh, so that
wow,
Once.
sinners.
It was the first Sunday of every month is when we have communion.
Oh,
And
I don't even
my
know.
church out here, which is non-denominational, we did that forever too. Like that's just what I'm used to. It's the first
Oh,
Sunday of
interesting.
every month you do communion. Now my church does it every Sunday
yeah, that's
for
interesting.
reasons that I just don't pay attention to.
But
Something changed.
but it's still pretty similar. And one of the biggest similarities that we all had to suffer through was purity culture.
Oh yes, which
Purity
I think
culture.
even broader is like youth group,
Yes.
Mhm.
and that was
Yeah.
like in our fucking.
Yeah.
Well,
Definitely.
how often did you attend? Like, did you go to youth group or anything growing up?
So to me, it's interesting because in my United Methodist Church, it really wasn't purity culture was not really that a thing. Like we didn't have sit down talks about it. I would never had a ring. Like I never had any of that, those conversations. And our youth group was just fun. And we just like hung out and like we just like played games. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like that.
It's
So
funny
it's
because
interesting to
our
me.
youth group was like that too. Purity culture was not something that I fell upon through my church.
Oh.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that is what's different, I think, between
Probably, yeah.
you guys and me is I Christianity was fully my choice. Going to church was my choice. My mom, didn't make me go to church.
At like what age? Or ever?
I just always
So
wanted
you were
to
just
do it.
willing to go.
I loved going to church. I
Okay.
loved being a part of that.
Yeah.
I loved purity culture. Like I was just so deep into it.
Indoctrinated, yeah.
And I think it wasn't like the youth group setting for me that got me into purity culture. It was all of the like retreats and places we went to. We would go to like
Yeah.
events,
Right,
and they
right.
would be so dramatic. And I love
What up,
I
Winter
love
Jam?
the drama. And and like I remember one guy, I don't remember why, but some guy locked himself in a case full of water, and they did a whole sermon about it.
Okay,
and I
David
don't
Blaine.
remember.
What?
And he got himself
love David
out, and then they were like, if you feel called to give your life to Jesus, then sign this card and come give it to someone, and we'll pray with you, and we'll give your life to Jesus. And I had given my life to Jesus like 6 times before.
You're like, what else do I
But
gotta do?
Again?
every time that opportunity came up, I was like, yes,
I feel compelled.
sign the card,
Yes.
You
talk
really
to
gave
the
it your
person.
all.
Yeah.
I gave my life to Jesus so many times.
So many.
Just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I mean,
That's so funny.
those retreats and everything are just so like stereotypical brainwashy
Yes.
to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
make you like buy into this grandiose like you need to give your life right now. And that's why there's like videos of kids like crying and like praising, and they just like, they don't know what's going on.
I've seen kids like pass out on the floor
I know.
from the Holy Spirit, but
it's
like
insane.
Really.
But yeah, I mean,
and church camp. That was a big
Church
thing
camp.
they preached at church camps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
and
God.
Church camp did me
You're
in.
so lucky, Allison.
I had a great time at church camp. Nothing weird happened. We
Only
prayed,
weird happened.
we sang and we prayed every night, but we had fun.
Did you do some
through the day.
kumbaya?
Oh,
I love sitting around a fire.
Oh yeah.
At
Lord, I
night.
lift your name
Oh, that song.
on high.
Yes. Wow.
So you know how like in experience, hold on. So you know, like in experiments, there's like there always has to be the control sample. That's
Yeah.
you.
That's
for
me.
us.
That's you.
I'm so sorry.
100%.
You're our base layer to know.
I have
if
a few
our
stories that we'll get
stories
to
are
when we
crazy.
get to, but like
Yeah,
in
yeah,
terms
yeah.
of my overall time, I did not have a bad time, and I'm so sorry that you guys did. I feel like with my church, it was kind of the opposite end, to where it wasn't talked about at all. And I feel like it was harmful in that situation because there wasn't any talk about it to be like safe or to
Right.
even like be open to speak about sex
Yeah.
and be comfortable with it. And I feel like that can be harmful in the other way, because if it's taboo and you don't talk about it, then there's more chance of making decisions that maybe you're not ready to make, or unsafe
Totally.
decisions and stuff like that. So like I think that with my church, it probably was a harmful thing. And even though like you guys had bad experiences, I think that there is a negative side to just not talking about it as well.
Yeah.
So actually, I did a little research on, what is considered healthy sex education.
Yeah.
Because I think that purity culture, sure, it's definitely in churches, but it has also like kind of trickled into our schools with
Yeah.
abstinence only education. And I learned that 82% of Americans believe in contraception sex education, but still $178 million a year is given to abstinence only education programs.
What?
Yeah. Even though they have been known to like spread lies. For
Yeah.
example, a study in the negative implications of the purity movement on young women by Amanda Paul.
Doesn't have to do that.
Hey girl.
So in a study or in a paper done by Amanda Paul, she also found false information in this abstinence only education. For example, they are saying that birth control causes cancer and infertility. Well, that could happen, but
I think that if you read the fine print of the box that you get, like that is possibly a situation.
Yeah.
But
and also she found that they wrote that condoms only have a 30% success rate,
I'm sorry, what? That's not true at all.
but in reality they have a 3% fail rate. So
Yeah.
it's 97%
Yeah.
effective.
that's
And they're saying that it's 30% effective. Like that is
That's
written
just a
in
blatant
textbooks
lie?
in
yeah,
schools.
that's
God.
insane.
Yeah. So it's like also in our schools too. You can't like escape it. They're kind of like helping each other out there.
Yeah.
Well, what was your introduction to it, you personally?
Megan?
Megan, our friend Megan.
I don't.
Was it one of those conferences or camp or something?
It was probably my earliest memory is reading the Diary of a Teenage Girl series.
Oh,
I don't know if you heard of those.
I know I Kissed Dating Goodbye.
Oh, that's a whole
Did you
thing I
know-
could get into.
Did
He
you know
re-
that he's
oh, yeah, he
he's
recanted
recanted?
it.
Yes.
Yes, he has. Good.
Anyway, sorry.
I don't know what
You
you guys are
read-
saying.
That could be like a whole nother podcast
Oh, yeah,
with
could,
I Kiss
honestly.
Dating Goodbye.
Yeah.
No, this book was about, it followed like 3 different girls in their teenage years, and they all like collided, like their lives like coincided at some point.
Was it fictional? Christian fiction?
Yes, it was Christian fiction. I loved Christian fiction.
Oh gosh.
And this girl Caitlin was all about
Wanting to live for the Lord.
and purity and blah 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 blah. And I remember signing a piece of paper that like I was like promising that I would not have sex, and my parents signed it.
Hey, did you know that virginity pledges like that only last on average 18 months?
What?
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's not very long at all.
You were looking at purity pledges. Megan, you did a purity
I sure
pledge?
was.
I did a purity pledge.
Wow.
and
If you
I
don't
got
mind
a
us
ring.
asking, how long did yours last?
Hers lasted a
A
while.
long time.
Okay,
I
wow.
mean, I signed that probably when I was like 13 or 14.
You really set yourself up for success by doing it that young.
Yeah.
You did.
And when I was 16, I was dating someone and my mom asked me to go on birth control. She was like, I think this is going to happen. And I was like, no, the only reason that I haven't broken my promise to Jesus is because I'm not on birth control and I'm terrified of getting pregnant.
Oh, same.
And so I was just like, I've always been a very sexual person. Like my entire life I've been a very sexual person. So purity had this like guilt weighed on it because it's not something that I really wanted to do, but I felt like I had to do it in order to be a good Christian.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is what is so toxic
As many
about it.
many decisions made
come
from.
And when I did lose my virginity, it was the worst experience of my entire life. It ruined me
Because
for
you
years.
were thinking about the pledge you made, or
Yeah, because I was like, I just ruined. I can't be a good Christian now. That is
Right.
what went through my head. I mean, how I lost it was terrible. I lost it to someone who just did not care about me, and I was just like at a very weird place in my life. I was in college. I was new to LA. I was discovering alcohol for the first time and weed for the first time. You know, like I was doing all these different things, and I lost it to some guy, and I went on a spiral for years. Like I can't be a Christian now.
So the reason why you have those feelings of guilt and shame, I went through the exact same
I did too.
thing.
It's probably different from you because it was so, like it was the truly in purity. Sorry to cut you off. It was at least the way that I was understanding it it was mainly the woman's job.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second.
So it wasn't as much pressure on me.
Yeah, yeah. I'll
as
get
it
to
was
that
for
in a
you
second
guys.
because I have facts.
Oh shit.
But no, like you know those terrible sayings that we used to hear all the time, like your body is a tissue. Nobody wants a
She's
used
a flower.
tissue.
The flower one I heard a lot.
Yeah, your body. What was it like? Your body is a rose. Every time you.
It's like if you give your rose to someone, like the leaves,
eventually it's
the
gone.
petals fall off and it's damaged and it's squished and like who wants that?
Yeah.
that's the whole. I
Yep.
mean, the part of purity that I heard was what those kind of things, but not from people telling me, just from life and society. But like, yeah, you're right. It is just put on the female to protect her virtue
and
and
also
all about
to
the
not
boys
tempt
not
the
being
man.
able to
Well,
control themselves. That's insane.
Yeah.
Because the whole like purity culture, it definitely is like towards the woman. I mean, like sometimes people do like pledges with their father, and their father like pledges to like keep them chaste until their wedding day, and it's really gross. And it's like, I think it's called like covering. I will cover my daughter or something.
Ew.
Yeah, it's disgusting. But also it's like the whole like theme of purity culture is to like shut down all sexual ideas and don't be tempted and all of that stuff. But
It just makes you.
it's natural for men to have these feelings.
Yeah.
But it's unnatural for a woman. So
Yeah.
like, and then it's up to the woman to make sure that the man doesn't act on those emotions and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all the responsibility is put on the woman. It's like,
Did you feel? Well, for all of you, I guess. Did you feel? Well, because you weren't affected by this culture at all. First of all,
I mean, I wasn't affected in the way you guys were, but I will say, like what Megan said about being so terrified of being pregnant was something that I went through, and I feel like wherever that came from, I'm not sure, but the lack of communication about sex, because my parents didn't talk to me about sex. They didn't sit down and say, like, have the talk in an educational way and have me understand what was going on and how to be safe and stuff like that. It was not talked about at all. And so therefore that made me terrified of getting pregnant and getting STDs and like, I'm going to die. And to this day, I still have, I mean, I've talked to you guys about it, that I have high anxiety going to the gynecologist because I am afraid that I'm going to be told I have cancer and die, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So all of that was so taboo that it affected me so much getting older, of like all these things are going to happen to me, but also made me like want to explore that. But it was just this dichotomy of being scared but wanting to explore. It's a lot. Yeah.
Did you feel as ladies that pressure at all with your clothing?
Yeah, the there's an article by
She has
Megan
a
Turner.
fact.
I have a fact. So yeah, they like women could not allow a man to stumble. That's the word that I was looking for. That's
okay.
what it's always said, like stumble. And so yeah, it was our responsibility to make sure that they never stumbled. And so yeah, I could never like wear like shorter shorts or like a tank top, like
It was random though, because like you were allowed to wear bikinis, but my sisters were never allowed.
No, and I couldn't wear bikinis around you.
Boys, that's right.
Around like boys.
Gag.
Yeah. But
Not around your cousins.
yeah.
What?
It's so weird. Anyway, but
Megan, what were you? Was that a situation for you?
I didn't really know how to dress myself back then.
But were you conscious of like, wow, I've got breasts. I can't let
yeah,
these be
my,
seen by
like-
the boys?
No, because I was very insecure about my body. So I was always covered up. Like I wore very big t-shirts and sweatshirts and
Were you in public
pants.
school, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I when I got to high school, I remember going into 9th grade and I had lost like a ton of weight. Like it was the skinniest I had been. And I was starting to open up a little bit more on my clothing. And I remember one day I wore a skirt that was like maybe just like right where it was about to be too short for dress code. And my English teacher, Mr. Melvin, he
course.
was my
If you're watching.
favorite-
And we know you are.
he was my favorite teacher.
Oh.
And but this moment will forever stick with me. He pulled me out of class. I sat front row because I loved his class so much. Before the class started, he pulled me out of class and said something along the lines of, you should really think about what you're wearing because the boys around you are going to be tempted. Like he gave me that kind of speech as if he was my pastor, not my English teacher. And I never wore that skirt again.
Oh.
Oh my god!
And it was my favorite skirt. Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
I remember like having to go to the office and like have my like fingertip
The thumb
like,
check or whatever.
yeah,
Fingertip
which
check.
sucked for me because I have such
Long
arms
arms.
that I can't
It's true.
do anything
you had
about
to
it.
wear longer ones.
My arms, viewers,
she has a wingspan.
when
if I've ever seen
when
one.
I am standing, they touch my knees. I promise you.
Yeah.
And it's
Knees.
it's so annoying because I would only be able to wear like basketball shorts,
Bermuda shorts, if you will.
Bermuda shorts.
And probably a nice pair of capris.
Oh, I
Oh,
loved
gosh.
I loved a capri.
Did you love a culotte?
I loved a culotte. I sure did love a gaucho.
Oh my gosh, a gaucho. Get
Remember
out.
stirrup pants? Wow.
Were you born in the 80s?
Bring them back.
No, Kate, my little sister, my big sister used to wear them. I remember growing up and being
Yep.
like, wow,
Yeah.
So
she's got
cool.
hooks on her feet.
I would actually love those now.
Keeps them
Bring 'em
in the
back.
shoe.
I have a request for active booty.
You want us to make stirrup
Stirrup
leggings?
pants.
I'll put
Oh,
it in.
yeah.
I'll
Bring 'em
put
back.
it in the...
Idea jar.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
okay, so Megan, when did purity culture, like when did you start to come out of this like idea, or are you still dealing with it? Like, is it still?
I think I finally let go of my guilt of it probably in 2019 or 2020.
Okay.
Is when I really just
Came to
let go of
terms.
it. I mean, I was just like, you know what? I think I'm done with Christianity for a while. Like I just don't want to do it. And you know what? If Jesus really loves me, then he's going to love me no matter who I am. I just came to a moment where I was like, you know what? I just need to accept myself for where I'm at in life and who I am as a person. Cause I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
And so for me to continuously carry the weight of, oh, you drink and you smoke and you say cuss words and you have sex and you do all these things that doesn't make you a good Christian. Like I can't live like that anymore.
No.
So
Yeah.
if I want to live like this, then I can't be a Christian. And I just kind of let it go. And then I started over basically. And I started Christianity over the way I wanted to do it and realizing that Jesus does love me no matter what. It was kind of like an instant, like I'm not a Christian anymore. All of this guilt kind of just fell off my shoulders. I could breathe again for the first time in like my life.
Right.
And was able to be like, okay, Jesus, let's start
What's
over
up?
here.
Yeah.
Because because I loved Christianity. I loved being a part of that, environment for so long. And so there's something about having that relationship with Jesus that's still very, very important to me.
Yeah.
But there are just so many things about Christianity that I just don't believe in.
Yeah.
So I've kind of started from the ground up, and I've just been working
okay.
my way
Yeah.
through what do I believe in and what do I not want to believe in, and it's okay if I don't believe in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think something that's always been hard for me is that because there are so many sectors of Christianity, then like what is the truth and like who's wrong, who's right has always been something that's hard for me to grasp, because if there was a way to be a perfect Christian, then there would be one way of being a Christian.
Right.
And so then that makes me, like what you're saying is doing it the way that you feel comfortable and the way that being spiritual, being religious, ultimately to me is a personal and intimate situation,
Yeah.
whether it is spiritual or whether it's religious, it's intimate. And there being so many ways of being religious just shows that like what is really the truth.
Yeah, and thinking on
To
like
me.
even a larger scale of just Christianity, every single religion. I mean, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Like there's that one TikTok that girl's like, 1 million religions in the world, and I just so happen to be born in the only right one.
Yeah.
Right.
right.
Like that's kind of what we were taught growing up,
literally.
is that
Well,
religion.
aren't I so lucky?
is- yeah. All right, control sample. But yeah, like we were taught that like our religion is the only right one, and so who are we to question these things that
Right.
were being shoved down our throats, like that we would be trash, we would be a dirty
It was fear.
Toothbrush.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and there was also that pressure of having to convince everyone in your life that Christianity is the only way or they're going to go to hell.
Yes,
Oh my
that
God,
too.
yeah.
And
the
that
pressure of that.
terrified me.
Go
because
out and
I
be a
was-
witness.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
missed an opportunity, the guilt I would.
I would
Yeah.
carry it with me forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Can I ask, Alex, how did purity culture kind of affect you with being closeted? Or is that not something you want to talk about?
No, I don't really feel like, well, because I wasn't super attracted to women. It was not like a thing for me.
Oh,
But like,
You were like, I am the
But-
best at being pure.
I was.
I am so
I'm
pure.
so pure. No, but so my ex, whom I dated for a long time, she was always scrutinized for the way she dressed, because for a lot of reasons, but like she seemed to be like the staple person in youth group growing up that people like. She was literally the sweetest human being in the whole world. Not a single enemy. Everyone loved her.
I don't have a single bad thing to say about that girl.
Neither do I. But
I say that.
also like very scrutinized by adults for the way that she dressed, and like she couldn't help the way her body was shaped, truthfully. And then other than like seeing Caitlin and Abby go through that, my sisters, and from mom and dad were always in phases. It was like as strict as we're sewing our own clothes to as loose as sure you can wear a puka shell
tankini?
necklace and a tankini. Yeah.
Not a tankini.
Yeah. So no, I was definitely not affected in the same way, because also you have to know that when I would go to these same like CIY, when I would go to these like Christian events in camp, when it was purity time, it would always go like this. All right, guys. We're gonna ask the ladies to head on out in the back. Fellas, you're gonna stay here with us. And we're gonna have a really deep talk with Christ. So, ladies, thank you so much. We can't wait to see. We'll see you back here. Okay, fellas.
That is trigger.
Yeah, and that's what would happen. And the ladies would leave to learn how long their skirts should be.
And
you guys
how
just talked about-
But
disgusting we would be if
I
a
truly
man
don't
looked at
know,
us.
because we wouldn't talk about it. When the assemblies would come back together, it would just be this very awkward like.
And the
So-
girls are walking in, just
Like-
white faces,
Yeah.
like we're gonna die. And
Oh
we're
my
like,
God.
"Don't
Don't look at us!"
die.
And like I don't.
Anyway.
So anyway, I don't totally know what
Okay.
went down with them.
Okay.
so the double standard is actually real.
It's
Yes.
so real. So, viewers and listeners alike, you may be wondering, how can we stop this? You know, how can we solve this in our hearts?
Stop
and also,
going to church.
well, I was gonna say
If you
break the
want.
cycle.
Oh,
Yes. So I was thinking
Yes,
breaking
okay,
the
sorry.
cycle, maybe trying to promote sex positivity
talking to our future kids if we
Yes.
so desire or choose to have them, having open conversations and
Yes.
making it not taboo.
Well, okay, so, and I know there's a lot of reasons you had to give up Christianity, but do you feel like that whole guilt of purity culture and whatnot is one of the reasons, or like a big reason why you had to let that go?
Yeah.
So in now being on the other side of that, do you agree that, like, what is the number one thing that you think could actually, you know, having gone through that, if you were to talk, if you were to encounter purity culture again with a mind that is being shaped, what would you think would be the best way to approach that?
Personally, I just don't think purity culture should exist.
Yeah.
Just at all?
I just don't think it should exist at all. No, I think learning about sex should come from your family and people that know you and know your heart.
Or a professional.
Not from some youth pastor on a stage, you know.
Yes.
You know,
Especially a male youth pastor.
Yeah.
Right.
And there are so many books about it. I mean, even I Kissed Dating Goodbye, like, gets into it. I still have them. I have a pile of Christian dating books and like purity books and like all that kind of stuff. And I don't think it should exist. I think
it's toxic.
It is toxic, and sex culture within the church is just not.
Yeah.
It's just not necessary.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that it needs to be there at all.
Mm-hmm.
And
It just sucks because it's still so prevalent.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Another thing.
I think it always will be.
Yeah, church
Yeah.
camps are
In
still a thing.
Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another way I think that we can combat this guilt and shame
Mhm.
that we feel, not just I, but also something that I read. A solution to that is getting to know your own body, aka
Jerkin the Churkin.
masturbation.
masturbation. Actually, it said to just put a mirror down there and really take a look at yourself.
It's fair.
Did it say that?
Masturbation is another point of like
Oh, yes.
do that and die.
And die.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
that, go into hell.
I think that's
Yeah.
more like male heavy, because women, you know, we just had to shut it down altogether.
Yeah.
But like,
Oh, I masturbated so much.
You heard it here first,
So
folks.
I think that's another thing that really got me with purity culture is I was such a sexual person from a young age.
Were you masturbating because you
Yeah, was it overwhelming?
you were like, I can't have sex with a man, or I can't have sex with another person, so I'm going to do this because it's
I just masturbated because I was horny. And I was just
There's
always horny. And
nothing else.
that really was hard because, like you said, in purity culture, men being horny is okay.
It's okay.
But
Right.
women
Right.
don't have sexual urges. So I always thought there was something wrong with me because I had very strong sexual urges. But now that I'm adult and I'm kind of like being free of that, I'm like, that's great. I love that for me.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a great thing.
It is.
That's just something that I love about myself now. But for so many years, like, yeah, I mean, very, very young age, I discovered that I was a sexual person. And that might have even triggered wanting to be a part of purity culture because I was a sexual person and I knew I couldn't have sex and be a Christian.
Oh, so you overcompensate.
I
Yeah,
found
that makes
purity
sense.
culture and was like, I'll commit to this.
Yeah.
And that will fix my sexual urges.
Interesting,
Because
right.
I fooled around with guys all through high school. Like I did everything but have sex. But because a penis did not go inside of me,
No.
I was a virgin and I was true to purity culture, even
Yeah.
though I was not.
yeah,
That is still sex and it's not pure. It surely wasn't pure.
Yeah.
Surely not pure.
yeah.
Well,
Purely not sure.
if this, because you mentioned earlier about the amount of money going into teaching abstinence in schools,
Yeah.
do you feel like, did you guys have a conversation at school about it?
Never.
I feel like we
I
had
did,
the
yeah.
fourth or fifth grade talk of like, you're going to get your period. And like, this is like, split the boys and girls up. Girls
Yeah.
talk about periods and boobs, and boys, whatever.
Boys literally just talk about where they're going to grow hair. That's
Really? That's it?
all I remember from those talks.
So like, yeah, we didn't have that conversation, but it is it's a sad and big reality that there are a lot of people who will go to public school and will not have, and don't have parents at home that are able to teach them these things.
Yeah.
And so like in school, like it is important for
I think
kids
so.
to
Yeah,
learn about
so.
safe sex and all of that comes without feeling shame,
Right.
because their parents could be in jail, their parents could be on drugs, their parents could be mentally unable to help them in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not learning it in a great way from church, and they're not learning it in a great way from school, where are they learning it? And then are they being unsafe? Like, that is a scary situation. And it's scary
Absolutely.
that amount of money
Yeah.
Did you know that 1% of, hold on. A 2013 study found that 1% of women reported getting pregnant without having sex because they all signed a purity pledge, and they didn't realize that what they were doing was sex because they were never taught.
That is.
So they were told to sign something and didn't.
They were like, yeah, I will never have sex. And
That's
they
called
were
Spring
what is
Awakening.
sex?
They thought that they were being true.
Awakening, that is
Yes,
true.
Spring Awakening is one of the greatest musicals
And that's
ever written,
exactly
and that's
what
it.
happens.
It is it. Yeah.
You know, I was never taught about sex. Like in high school, my
I wasn't
parents
either.
never had that conversation with
No,
me.
same.
Nope.
I had no idea. I was just like, what I feel is bad.
It was bad. Yeah. Sex was
Yeah.
bad. You don't talk about it. You don't
That's
ask
it.
questions
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I don't think we were ever told anything except like when one time I was caught sending photos of myself, not nudes, I was in a bathing suit, to a boy. My dad, this is traumatic. My dad printed it out
Oh my God.
and had it and was like, if you show your body to every boy, no one's going to want you.
What
Oh
a
my
royal
God.
POS.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
When will my reflection show who I am inside?
So funny that you sang that because I was literally just telling Haley that was my pageant talent song.
Oh God.
Well, that's great. Anyway, so Megan, now I just want to wrap up here. I just am curious if there's anything, like, aside from the suggestions we've made, is there anything that you feel like really has helped you to release kind of the guilt that was put on you from the church and this purity culture that's other than the all-encompassing, leaving Christianity behind? Was there anything you had to put into practice or that you did that kind of helped with that?
I think just giving myself the space to think and feel things that maybe I wouldn't before.
Physically, did you stop doing it? Like, did you stop praying? Did you stop going to church altogether?
Praying was always very, very hard for me to do. So yeah, I never pray. Like if I'm going to talk to God, I'm like, hey, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like, so
Very
just a
conversational.
conversation. But honestly, like, no, I don't pray.
Well, you did stop going to church for a while.
I stopped going to church for a while for a lot of different reasons.
Right.
Struggling with Christianity was one of them. Not being able to sing was one of them. Like waiting to get my tonsils removed. Honestly, the only reason I go to church now is because of the band. Is really like I built such a good community there. I connect
that
through music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, I my church is very, very small, and I've been with them for 12 years, and I've seen them grow into something that I could agree with. Like I stand with what they stand for and what they believe in. And they're very much like, you know what? Postmodern Christianity is a thing. No one gives a shit about coming to church anymore. So what are we doing as Christians to fix that and to take what we believe out into the world, because no one's coming here. So
And it's non-denominational, right?
It's non-denominational, yeah. We call ourselves food truck churches. So we take what we believe and what we've talked about in our community on Sundays, and then we just go out in the world and just live it in our third spaces. And I just think that for
That's
me
cool.
has been
That's a
very
cool- yeah.
healing.
Yeah, I like that.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I really, really like that.
Yeah.
You want to shout them out?
Ecclesia in Hollywood. Love you
I've
much.
been there a bunch. Good place. Well, Megan, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
I love you
Thanks,
so much.
Megan.
It's been healing.
Love you.
Good. Oh yeah, and just real quick, Megan's had so you know how I saw Gaul. Y'all know.
Oh, yeah.
She finally saw Gaul.
Yes.
Chloe is going next week to see Gaul.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
So if you're a
for
new
you.
listener, can you explain to them what you're
Yeah,
talking
if you're
about?
a new listener, I by the recommendation of a friend of mine, went and saw this. My friend Katy Perry. I went to see this guy who basically reads your birth chart in correlation to the planets and the stars. And I know a lot of people don't believe in that, but I went with a very open mind, and basically he said he told me my life up to that point without me giving him any input. He was right on. And then he gave me, or basically things to be aware of. He was very good about that. Like, he was just like, be aware of this. Like, you could do this, but you should do this kind of thing. And I came back and like told all of them, obviously, and all of you 100,000 times. And then the friends all started to book sessions with him, and Megan and Karina have now seen him. Chloe and Haley are seeing him, and then Jane just booked with him today or yesterday. Yeah.
I have not, because I don't know if I can
So
mentally.
So summarize that's kind of summarizing what happened to me. Like, he basically reaffirmed a lot of things and encouraged me on a lot of things, and it was amazing. And then for Megan, so Megan here, just to give a little backstory, we'll put her ats in the description, of course, but she is insane vocalist. Like, whoop. And she comes from musical theater, and that's, she's that's where her heart is. She's very passionate about it, among other things, but damn can she sing. We've done a couple songs together, a Christmas song. And
They
we wrote the stars.
My mom reposted that the other day. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Don't know why.
Thanks,
She loves
Thanks,
it.
Tracy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Trace.
I looked you guys up real fast and watched it
Okay.
right when I met you.
I love that. And but then, so Megan, you saw him, and like, give us the gist. What happened there?
Yeah, so he did basically the same thing. When he started off, he gave me like my entire life story.
Yeah.
And was like, you felt no real success since 2010. I was like, you're not wrong.
That's
And that's the
that
year that I
tracks.
moved to LA. That's like when I started college. It's when I had my first, booked gig and my last booked gig. And then he asked me, he's like, so what are you here for? And he goes, no, wait, let me read your lines real quick. Let me see like where it would be good for you to be. And the first thing he says goes, well, you shouldn't be in LA. And I was like,
Cool.
Which, just for some,
it's terrifying.
just to fill you in, like, Megan has been contemplating leaving LA for so long.
so long. I mean, honestly, since college,
Just
I've been
like so
thinking about
on the
it.
fence.
Yeah, and it's just terrifying. And the longer I waited, the harder,
The harder
it
it
got
got
because it's like I met more people and I built a life out here, and now I have an apartment full of stuff that I've accumulated
You
for
have a
12
cat.
years. I have a cat.
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh. So he read all of these like different places and what these places would do for me. And then the last place he said, and I was getting nervous because none of these places sounded great. He was saying one of the places was like Salt Lake City, Utah.
I love Salt Lake City.
I was like, well, what am I going to do in Utah?
So pretty.
Great.
Become a Mormon.
Yeah, I mean, the religious side is not
like-
a step in the direction.
I was like, what am I going to do in
Crumble
Utah?
Cookies is from.
I love. I
Oh,
want to try
crumble.
crumble so bad. I see it all
There's
over
one right
TikTok.
here, near here. She went and got some. We'll have to get them.
Yeah.
Because the one at
We
NoHo
will.
West hasn't opened yet.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that one. But the last the last city he said was he said, you have a lot of power in New York, but it would probably be very intense for you. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that means.
Not bad, but
Not
Yeah.
bad, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Then he asked me, he's like, okay, what are you here for? And I was like, well, I don't know if I should be in LA anymore. Like, I've been considering a move. And he goes, oh yeah, no, you gotta leave. Like, you gotta get out of here. Like, you can't
gotta
be here
go.
right now. He was like, unless you're moving in with a partner and starting a family and buying a house in LA, then maybe I would see you staying here. But if you're not doing that right now, then you need to get out of LA. And I was like, okay, well, I do musical theater and this and that. He goes, oh yeah, go to New York. He was like, I see you surrounded by very powerful people. I see you surrounded by celebrities coming into a lot of money. I think all of that you're going to find in New York because that's where your power is.
Fuck.
So I left that session and I called my mom and I said, Mom, I'm moving to New York.
No. She didn't put all her eggs in the basket of what this man said. Megan has literally specifically
Yeah.
been deciding on
Oh,
New
yeah.
York first.
So long.
long.
But more intensely the last couple years.
Yeah. And
So this is more like you went into this, correct me if I'm wrong, hoping to get some guidance on whether that would be your move.
yes, I really just wanted someone to confirm that that was what I needed to do because I couldn't make the decision on my own.
Yeah.
Right.
I was leaving so much behind.
Yeah.
And he said that my soul longs for community because of things that my soul
Yeah.
has done in past lives. And that's why I've stayed in LA is because I have such a great community
You
out
do.
here. I have a work community, friend community, church community. I have so much here. And that's what's kept me in LA and it's what keeps my soul going. But if I stay here, I will continue to live comfortably numb. And when he said that, I was like,
Oh, right.
that hit me so hard because in December I had the worst month that I've had in a very long time. December was very, very hard for me. I cried every single day of December, including Christmas.
didn't
And
you
I freaking love Christmas.
And didn't comfortably numb. Like that specific phrase was you.
I said it to Jasmine on the phone.
Wow.
We
And
were
then he
talking about
said
it,
those
and then he
words.
said the exact words, and I was like,
He's spooky.
wow. He is
That's why I'm
spooky.
scared.
He's great though, and
Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't even sat down before
exactly
he
what happened to
started.
me.
He was just
Yeah, just
into
I
it.
was like, oh, yes.
I couldn't breathe. I didn't take my mask off. I wasn't comfortable. I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
great. He had me pull cards. It was really cool. All signs led to New York. Everything that I pulled led to New York. So
Amazing.
Well, I'm living through you because that's what I wanted to do when I left college,
Mhm.
and I'm like my life worked out
yeah,
great up to this point. But like I love New York so much, and I'm so excited to come visit you.
I was gonna
because,
say you have to
wow,
come
yeah, I
visit.
have to. I've
My
never
Alex has
been.
never
I've never
been.
fucking been.
and I'm so excited for him to experience it
Yes.
because I do love New York. The energy there,
Ugh,
it's unlike any other.
I feel so alive and so passionate about art there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I love
I think
it so
it's going to
much.
give me the right amount of motivation to really do what I've been like lacking the past few years.
Yeah.
Well, and also going in there with the mindset of I have so much power here.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
That is, that's
Well,
like
and
a
you're-
big kick in the rear.
Yes.
And like just having, you're even with what have been talking about today with you, having released that now, just a
Mhm.
completely different mindset going out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
that's
have
very
no
exciting.
plans on going to a church there. Like I'm officially that we're leaving that here.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
only reason I've stayed at church is because I'm a community out here and I want to leave it with them.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
Well, if you stumble upon it, then
Yeah, you're just not going to seek it out.
Yeah.
I get
yes, exactly.
and if
great.
not, then that's okay.
I'll
Like,
go to
you
Sunday
shouldn't-
church brunch.
that. Ooh.
Work.
My friend works at
Sunday
one of those.
service,
I'm like,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. He hosts it every Sunday, and
Oh my
I
God, yeah.
can't wait. He has like the
that-
full get up.
Are you triggered?
I'm so triggered.
Guys,
I'm still hungover from that brunch. It has been a month and I have not been able to drink since.
wow.
I had a seltzer on your birthday and was like,
It was hard for
"That's
you to
enough for
drink
me."
it.
Yeah.
I had to sip it and I was like, why am I even doing this to myself if I don't like
yeah,
it?
yeah.
But
Well, Megan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really, this has been great, and thank you for being in the video as well.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hopefully some people out there can relate to all of this
Mhm.
and we don't have the answers. I feel like we're all still on our own journey with
Yeah.
how we feel about these things
Oh, yeah.
and religion in general and all of that. So like thank
And-
you for
yeah.
validating.
And I know
that.
that's just
Yeah.
the tip of the iceberg with a lot of what you dealt with in that particular
Oh yeah.
way at church. But like, yeah, give Megan a follow, hit her up.
Yeah.
She's on the gram under Megan Jasmine Music.
Yes.
We'll put the ad, but like, yeah, let her know. Let us
Yeah.
know.
And if you're out there and this, related to you, then you're not alone and you
Mhm.
are very worthy. You are loved. And
Yes.
purity culture can kiss my butt.
Yes.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you. And thank you for that, Chloe.
Every time I say something sweet, you are like, okay, anyway.
I know. Sorry.
We're on
Brush
time
over
card.
I was like,
Thank
Anyway,
you so much
thank
for
you.
watching.
I'm
guys.
Alex.
I'm Chloe.
I'm Allison.
And this has been Traumedy. Thanks, Megan. You can
was-
say words.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
When I laugh to get through it, don't